Welcome to the Deck Store Online. Today we're going to be talking about stairs. This is the first in a three-part series on how to choose, lay out, cut stair stringers for your deck. Now, although there are many different methods of doing it, this is just our method on how we are going to put stairs on your deck. What are they? They're utilitarian. They're not required by code to be on your deck. They're merely a place of entrance and exit for your deck. If you want to get down into your yard, stairs on the deck are a great option. Not necessary, however, on your deck. They're a great exit off your deck for safety reasons. If you need to get off your deck because your house is on fire, or there's an emergency, you can use that as an alternate exit to the front door. There are limitations to stairs. There are codes. The IRC has a set code on the building of stairs, and we'll go through that as well. There's a rise, a 7 3/4 inch rise maximum. That means from where your foot steps to the next step, that's considered a rise, and that 7 3/4 is the maximum rise you can have on a stairway. Then there's the run. The run is the part of the stair that your foot steps on. That's called the run. The minimum length of that run can be 10 inches. And that minimum run is from the nosing of the stair above it to the nosing of the stair itself. 10 inches. Pause. Okay, in planning your stairs, you want to make sure that you have a good layout. When using your stairs coming down to exit your deck, where you may have multiple staircases on multiple deck levels, you want to make sure that your stairs are not cutting into your usable space on your deck. In this situation, you see how the stairs are available to come down and turn and go right down. You don't break up the deck at all. However, if we only had this other staircase that you see here, you'd be cutting your deck in half by having the stairs there. Your traffic pattern cuts your deck in half, which cuts down on your usable space. Code also requires that stairs be illuminated and have a grippable handrail, as you can see here. And you see all of our stairs have got risers. Code also requires that a 4-inch sphere must not pass through the rise of a stair. So we use a full-size deck board for that. However, you can use whatever as long as a 4-inch sphere cannot pass through your risers. Code also requires that you have no more than 3/8 inch difference between stairs. Okay, so these are some of the tools you're going to be needing to cut your stair stringers. You're going to need a framing square to start with. You're going to need your stair or square gauges. You can see these. We have these online. If you use discount code Square Nuts, we will offer free shipping with those. If you want to buy those online, we can offer those to you. Carpenter's pencils. You don't know you're a carpenter until you own a carpenter's pencil. Skill saw for the initial cuts of the stairs treads, and then either a jigsaw or a handsaw to finish the cut. I'll be showing you later how we're going to be using all of these tools to accomplish our task today. Thank you. Alright, when choosing your lumber, we here at the Deck Store, we use a #1 Southern Yellow Pine. #1 or better Southern Yellow Pine, which is great for building. It's a stronger lumber as opposed to the Ponderosa Pine, which is also available. Here you'll see we do have some defects. This looks like it got hit by the forklift, and you'd think, well, let's not take that board, but in fact we could use that because our stair might be right here. We'll cut that part out. Same with knots. If we have a knot that looks like it's in a bad place, we might still be able to use that board. I would try to make it so that my stairs, we'd cut that portion of the board out. So let's be ecological about how we use our lumber and not just toss things back because there's a knot here or there. We also want to make sure that we have a good straight board And also there's not a lot of cupping. Straight being looking down the edge, and also no cupping in your boards, because that can cause some issues down the road when you're trying to install the stair stringers. Okay, now we know what our length and our height is of our deck, and so now we're going to go ahead and lay out our stair stringers. Now there are many different methods of doing this. We at the deck store prefer to use a 6.5 by 10 inch run and rise. 6.5 inches high, and we use that because we can use a deck board then as our riser. 10 inches because we can use 2 deck boards as our run. And once again, the code, the IRC, is no greater rise than 7 3/4 and no shorter run than 10 inches, with no difference of 3/8 of an inch. So now I'm going to line up my framing square on the edge of the 2x12. I'm going to have 6.5 line up with the edge here. I'm going to take my square gauge and I'm going to install it on the inside, not on the outside. It'd be easier to do it on the outside, but when you get to drawing with your pencil, you'll find it gets in the way. And I'm going to come over and I'm going to put my stair gauge here on the left side. And you can see I've got 6.5 and 10. And I'm going to go to the end. And using my carpenter pencil, I'm going to move it up about 6.5 inches so that I get a full rise here. As I'm doing this, I'm making sure that this line is in line with the 10 inches so that each board, each run will be 10 inches. And you see this piece here we're going to be cutting out. Okay. Now we've got it laid out, we've got to subtract a couple of things. First, we're going to subtract 1.5 inches for the backer board. It's going to go on the back of the stairs. It's going to support it to the deck surface, to the deck framing. I'm going to follow that line. Remember, this part of the leg of the framing square is 1.5 inches, so that's going to be my guide. That would represent the 2x10. That's going to go away. We're going to add a 2x10 later, and then this will get lag bolted into the framing on the deck. So your deck surface will be up here, 6.5 inches. You'll lag bolt through into that. All right. Plus you'll have a stair strap coming from along this edge, up this edge, and nailing into the framing as well. Now we're going to go to the bottom of the stairs. And we are going to subtract 1 inch because we are not landing on a deck, we're landing on the ground. Our rise was 6.5 inches. We're going to subtract 1 inch, sorry, 5.5 inch rise. Using the framing square as a straight edge again. And we'll be subtracting the inch there. So these are the pieces that will be cut out. I'll be using my skill saw to cut this line and then cut this line. I'll then use either my hand saw or my jigsaw to finish up this cut. It's very important to not overcut. It seems like it would be really easy to go ahead and overcut that so that this piece just falls away. But if you overcut, you lose the strength of your 2x12 here. You need all that strength of that 2x12 for your stairs. So we can't do any overcutting. So we'd go right up to our line and stop with our skill saw. We come back with our jigsaw and finish up that cut. Say, why don't we use a jigsaw the entire way? Because a jigsaw won't cut nearly as straight as a circular saw will. It's a lot easier to use. Cut it straight with the circle saw here, straight with the circle saw there, and then finish up with the jigsaw or a hand saw. And that would be how we cut our stair stringers.